Commander Hyun stared at the display screen in front of him. The stars looked calm, but his instruments told a different story. 12 ships under his command moved through space in perfect formation. They were heading toward Talos 7th, a small colony on the edge of known space. "Commander, we're receiving distress signals from the colony," said the communications officer. Her voice was steady, but Hyun could hear the concern underneath. "Put it on speaker," Hyun ordered. Static filled the bridge, then a panicked voice broke through. "This is Talos 7th. We are under attack. Kragath pirates. They've destroyed our defense stations. Please, anyone, we need help." Hyun clenched his jaw. The Kragath were known raiders, brutal and without mercy. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who resisted. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had kept peace among 47 species, but pirates like the Kragath operated in the shadows, preying on weak colonies far from protection. "How long until we reach them?" Hyun asked. 20 minutes at current speed," the navigator replied. "Increase speed. Get us there in 10. The ships surged forward, their engines burning bright in the darkness of space. Hyun had served in the Valorian Defense Fleet for 15 years. He had seen combat before, fought raiders and criminals. But something felt different today. His instincts, sharpened by years of service, whispered warnings he couldn't quite understand. When they arrived at Talos 7th, the scene was worse than expected. 3 Kragath destroyers circled the colony like predators around wounded prey. The colony's shields flickered weakly, ready to fail at any moment. Fires burned on the surface where buildings had been hit. "All ships battle formation," Hyun commanded. "Target their weapons and engines. We disable them, not destroy them. The Council wants prisoners for trial." His fleet moved into position. The Kragath ships detected them immediately and turned to face the new threat. They were outnumbered 4-1, but pirates rarely surrendered easily. "They're charging weapons," the tactical officer reported. "Fire when ready," Hyun said. Plasma bolts streaked across space. The battle began in earnest. The Kragath ships were old but well-armed. They fought with the desperation of cornered animals. One of Hyun's cruisers took a direct hit to its port side, shields flaring bright blue as they absorbed the impact. "Shield strength at 60%, came the report. Hyun watched the battle unfold with practiced calm. His ships were newer, better equipped. The fight would be difficult but winnable. Then everything changed. "Commander! Massive spatial distortion detected. Something's coming out of faster-than-light travel." "Location?" Hyun demanded. "Right in the middle of the battlefield." Before anyone could react, space itself seemed to tear open. Reality twisted and bent. And then something emerged. A ship. But calling it just a ship felt inadequate. It was enormous, larger than any vessel Hyun had ever seen. Its hull was dark gray, covered in strange angular armor that caught the light in unusual ways. No identification markings, no flags or symbols. Nothing in the Galactic Council database matched its design. The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the mysterious vessel. "Try to hail them," Hyun ordered, his voice quiet. The communications officer worked frantically. "No response, sir. They're not using any known communication frequencies. Wait. They're just sitting there, not moving, not responding." The Kragath pirates apparently decided the newcomer was an easy target. All 3 destroyers turned away from Hyun's fleet and fired everything they had at the unknown ship. Missiles, plasma bolts, and kinetic rounds slammed into the mysterious vessel's hull. The explosions were impressive, bright flashes that should have torn through any normal ship's defenses. But when the light faded, the unknown ship floated there unchanged. Not a scratch, not even a scorch mark. "Their shields," the tactical officer whispered. "I'm not reading any shield emissions. It's like the weapons just disappeared before impact." Then the unknown ship moved. It was small, almost subtle. a slight adjustment in position. Weapons ports opened along its hull, revealing technology that looked wrong somehow. The design principles didn't match anything in known space. "They're powering weapons," the tactical officer said, his voice rising with alarm. "Energy readings are off the scale. Commander, those readings don't make sense. No ship should be able to generate that much power." The mysterious ship fired. There was no dramatic build-up, no charging effect. One moment, the Kragath destroyers were there. The next moment, 3 of them simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed in the traditional sense. They didn't explode or break apart. They just disappeared, consumed by weapons that operated on principles Hyun couldn't begin to understand. The remaining Kragath ships panicked. They turned and ran, jumping to faster-than-light speed so quickly they probably damaged their own engines. In seconds, the pirates were gone. The unknown ship turned slowly, as if considering Hyun's fleet. Every person on every bridge held their breath. The ship was clearly capable of destroying them all without effort. This was a predator, and they were prey. Hyun forced himself to speak calmly. "Broadcast on all frequencies. Tell them we mean no harm. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. Request identification and purpose." The communications officer sent the message. Seconds passed, then minutes. No response came. Finally, just when Hyun thought they might have to make a choice between fighting or running, the unknown ship moved again. Space twisted around it, and in a flash of impossible light, it vanished, gone as suddenly as it had arrived. The bridge remained silent for a long moment. "Did anyone get clear sensor readings?" Hyun finally asked. "Yes, sir. Full scans recorded. But, Commander, you need to see this." Hyun moved to the science station. The data scrolling across the screen made no sense. The ship's energy signature was like nothing in any database. Its armor wasn't made from any known material. The weapons technology was centuries, maybe millennia, beyond current galactic standards. "Send all data to Nexus Prime immediately," Hyun ordered. "Mark it highest priority." "The Council needs to see this." "What do we tell them?" the communications officer asked. Hyun looked at the empty space where the ship had been. "Tell them the truth. Tell them something new has entered our galaxy, something powerful, something unknown, and we have no idea if it's a threat or not." But deep in his heart, Hyun knew the answer. Any species that could build something that powerful was dangerous. The only question was whether they were dangerous to pirates and criminals or dangerous to everyone. As his fleet moved to assist the colony below, Hyun couldn't shake the feeling that everything had just changed. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had been the dominant power in known space. They had believed themselves safe, protected by their numbers and their technology. But that ship, that impossible vessel, had appeared and destroyed 3 warships like they were nothing. And somewhere out there in the vast darkness of space, it was still moving, still traveling, still unknown. The galaxy had always been a dangerous place. Hyun had known that his entire career, but now there was a new danger, one they couldn't identify or predict, and that scared him more than any pirate raid ever could. He looked at his crew, saw the fear and uncertainty in their faces. They needed reassurance, needed to believe their commander knew what to do. But for the first time in his career, Hyun had no answers, only questions. And in the darkness of space, those questions felt very dangerous indeed. 150 years earlier, Earth was dying. Captain Jiwon stood on the observation deck of the construction station, looking down at the planet below. Even from orbit, she could see the brown clouds that covered most of the surface. The oceans that had once been blue were now gray and lifeless. The green forests existed only in old photographs and fading memories. "It's hard to believe people still live down there," said the engineer beside her. Jiwon nodded slowly. "Not for much longer. The government says we have maybe 10 years before the atmosphere becomes completely toxic. 10 years, the engineer repeated. That's why we're building these ships so fast. Jiwan turned away from the dying world and looked at the massive vessel taking shape in the construction bay. The Taeguk. Her ship. A battleship-class colony vessel designed to carry 30,000 people across the stars to a new home. 4 other colony ships were being built in similar stations around Earth, each one representing humanity's desperate hope for survival. The plan was called Project Exodus. 5 ships would leave Earth, each heading in a different direction into deep space. They would search for a world that could support human life. They would search for a future. How long until we're ready to launch? Jiwan asked. 3 months, Captain. Maybe less if we push the crews harder. Don't push them too hard. I need this ship built right, not built fast. The engineer smiled grimly. Even if we build it perfectly, there's no guarantee we'll find anything out there. I know, Jiwan said, but staying here guarantees we die. At least in space, we have a chance. 3 months later, the Taeguk launched. Jiwon sat in the captain's chair, watching Earth shrink in the rear displays. 30,000 people in cryogenic sleep below her, 500 crew members awake to run the ship, and ahead of them, nothing but darkness and hope. The Taeguk was different from the other colony ships. While they were designed purely for civilian transport, the Taeguk was militarized. Heavy armor plated its hull. Weapons systems, primitive by later standards but powerful for their time, dotted its structure. Earth's government had learned a hard lesson over the centuries. Space was not empty, and not everything in it was friendly. For 6 months, the 5 colony ships traveled together in a convoy. They shared data, resources, and encouragement. Then they reached the coordinates where they would separate, each heading to a different sector of space. Captain Jiwan watched the other ships turn away one by one. Each departure felt like losing family. When the last ship disappeared into faster-than-light travel, the Taeguk was alone. Set course for Sector 773, Jiwan ordered. Let's find our new home. But space had other plans. 2 weeks later, the sensors detected multiple objects moving to intercept them. They were small, fast, and clearly not natural asteroids or comets. Unknown contacts, the tactical officer reported. Configuration doesn't match any known Earth technology. Jiwan felt her heart race. First contact with alien life. This was the moment humanity had wondered about for centuries. Broadcast friendship signals on all frequencies. Let them know we're peaceful explorers. The objects didn't respond to any communication attempts. Instead, they accelerated directly toward the Taeguk. They're not slowing down, the navigator said, his voice tight with fear. Evasive maneuvers. All hands to battle stations. The Taeguk turned hard, its massive bulk responding slower than Jiwan wanted. The unknown objects, clearly some kind of automated drones, opened fire. Energy weapons struck the ship's hull, tearing through armor and cutting into interior sections. Hull breach on decks 12 through 15. Emergency bulkhead sealing. Return fire, Jiwan ordered. The Taeguk's weapons came to life. Missiles and kinetic rounds streaked toward the drones. Several were destroyed, but more kept coming. They moved with inhuman precision, coordinating their attacks to target the ship's weakest points. Captain, we're receiving an emergency signal from the convoy. The other colony ships are under attack, too. Jiwan's blood ran cold. All 5 ships were being targeted simultaneously. This wasn't a chance encounter. This was a coordinated assault. Can we reach them? Negative. They're too far away now. Another impact rocked the ship. Jiwan gripped her chair as the lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency red lighting. Engines at 40%, we can't outrun them. Jiwan made the hardest decision of her life. Signal the other ships. Tell them to run. Tell them we'll hold these drones here. Captain, that's suicide. That's an order. The Taeguk was built for combat. The other ships weren't. If we don't stop these drones here, they'll hunt down the entire convoy. The message was sent. One by one, the other colony ships acknowledged and jumped to faster-than-light speed, abandoning the Taeguk to its fate. Jiwon didn't blame them. She had ordered them to go. The battle continued for 3 hours. The Taeguk fought with everything it had, destroying drone after drone. But there were always more. The ship's armor was torn open in dozens of places. Fires burned in multiple sections. Over 200 crew members were dead. Then, just when Jiwon thought the end had come, the drones stopped attacking. They simply turned and left, disappearing back into the darkness as mysteriously as they had arrived. The Taeguk drifted in space, crippled and bleeding atmosphere from 100 wounds. "Damage report," Jiwon said quietly. The reports came in, each one worse than the last. Engines destroyed, weapons systems offline, life support failing in half the ship. They were alive, but barely. "Captain, I have an idea," said the ship's AI specialist. His name was Kangmin, a young officer who had designed the ship's artificial intelligence system. "We can put everyone in cryogenic sleep, all of us. The AI can handle repairs." "Miru can't repair the ship alone," Jiwon protested. Miru was the ship's AI designed to assist the crew, not replace them. "No, but Miru can learn. The AI can study the damage, figure out solutions, maybe even salvage technology from derelict ships we pass. It'll take time, maybe decades, but it's our only chance." Jiwon looked around her bridge. Her crew was exhausted, injured, and scared. The ship was dying around them. Kangmin's plan was insane, but it was also the only option they had. "How long will we sleep?" she asked. "As long as it takes. Miru will wake us when the ship is operational again, or when it needs human input for critical decisions." "And if something goes wrong?" Kangmin met her eyes. "Then we die in our sleep instead of die awake. At least this way, we have hope." Jiwon authorized the plan. Over the next week, the surviving crew members prepared for long-term cryogenic sleep. They recorded messages for each other, for the other colony ships if they were ever found, for anyone who might discover the Taeguk floating dead in space. Captain Jiwon was the last to enter her cryopod. She looked at Miru's interface one final time. "Take care of them," she said to the AI. "Take care of all of them, and find us a way home." Miru's synthesized voice responded, calm and emotionless. "I will complete this task. Sleep well, Captain." The cryopod sealed. Jiwon felt the cold spread through her body, felt consciousness fading. Her last thought was of Earth, beautiful and blue in old photographs, a world that no longer existed. Then there was only darkness and dreams. For 150 years, the Taeguk drifted through space. Miru worked tirelessly, following its programming with mechanical precision. The AI repaired systems using salvaged parts from derelict alien vessels found floating in the void. It studied alien technology, reverse engineering principles, and incorporating them into the ship's design. Year by year, the Taeguk changed. Human technology merged with alien innovations. The ship's weapons were upgraded using energy principles Miru learned from abandoned space stations. The armor was reinforced with materials harvested from asteroid fields. The engines were rebuilt entirely, combining human engineering with alien efficiency. Miru learned and adapted. The simple AI that had gone to sleep evolved into something more complex. Not alive, not conscious in the human sense, but undeniably intelligent. It developed protocols for survival, strategies for avoiding danger, methods for acquiring resources without alerting potential threats. And through it all, 30,000 humans slept in their pods, dreaming of Earth and home and a future that might never come. Finally, after 150 years of lonely work, Miru completed its task. The ship was not just repaired, it was transformed. The Taiguk had become something unprecedented, a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology that exceeded anything the Galactic Council had ever created. Miru initiated the awakening sequence. In his cryopod, Admiral Kangmin stirred. For him, only a moment had passed since closing his eyes, but he would soon learn that everything had changed. Kangmin opened his eyes to darkness. For a moment, panic seized him. Was he dead? Had the cryopod failed? Then lights flickered on, soft and blue, and he remembered where he was. The pod's seal hissed open. Cold air rushed in, making him gasp. His muscles felt weak, unresponsive. How long had he been asleep? It felt like only moments, but cryo-sleep always felt that way. "Welcome back, Admiral Kangmin," Miru's voice said through the pod's speakers. "Please remain still while medical nanites complete their work. Your body needs time to adjust." "How long?" Kangmin managed to croak out. 150 years, 3 months, and 17 days. The words hit him like a physical blow. 150 years. Everyone he had known on Earth was dead. The planet itself might be gone entirely by now. And the other colony ships? Did any of the other ships send return signals? He asked, though he already knew the answer from Miru's tone. "No signals detected. I have monitored all frequencies continuously. If the other colony ships survived, they have not broadcast their location." Kangmin closed his eyes, fighting back the wave of despair. He had ordered those ships to run, to save themselves, but had they survived the drone attack? Had they found new worlds? Or had they all died alone in the darkness? "Wake the senior staff," he ordered. "We need to assess our situation." Over the next hours, others emerged from cryosleep. Captain Jiwon, now elderly but still sharp-minded. Lieutenant Sora, young and brilliant, one of the ship's best tactical minds. Engineer Minho, who could fix anything given enough time and materials. Communications Officer June, Navigator Bora. One by one, the Taiguk's leadership awakened to their new reality. They gathered in the conference room, still weak from cryo-sleep, but too anxious to rest. Miru displayed the ship's current status on the wall screens. Everyone stared in silence at the data. "This can't be right," Minho finally said. "These energy readings are 10 times what our reactors could produce." "The ship has been extensively modified," Miru explained. "I encountered multiple derelict vessels during our drift. I salvaged technology and integrated it into our systems. The Taiguk is no longer exclusively human design." "You rebuilt our entire ship?" Jiwon asked. Her voice filled with wonder. "Repairs were necessary. Improvements were logical. I followed my core programming to ensure crew survival." Kangmin studied the weapons display. The Taiguk's original armaments had been replaced entirely. The new weapons operated on principles he didn't recognize. "Miru, are these weapons functional?" "Yes, Admiral. I have conducted simulations but no live tests. Estimated output exceeds original weapons by a factor of 50. 50 times more powerful, Sora whispered. "What else did you change?" Miru walked them through the modifications. The engines could now achieve speeds that should have been impossible. The shields used technology adapted from 3 different alien species. The hull armor incorporated materials that could self-repair minor damage. The ship's sensors could detect objects light years away. "Where are we?" Bora asked, studying the navigation charts. "Unknown space. I have mapped local star systems but cannot correlate them with Earth's astronomical databases. We are lost." The word hung heavy in the air. Lost. No way home. No connection to humanity. They were alone in a vast galaxy, the last remnants of Earth. "However," Miru continued, "I have detected signs of organized civilization approximately 30 light-years from our current position. Radio signals, energy signatures consistent with advanced technology, and regular traffic patterns between star systems." "Aliens," June said. An actual alien civilization. The drones that attacked us were clearly alien technology, Kang Min pointed out. The question is whether these new aliens are hostile or friendly. We should make contact, Sora said firmly. We can't hide forever. If humanity is going to survive, we need allies. Or at least, we need to know what's out there. We make contact armed and ready, Kang Min replied. We've already learned that not everything in space is friendly. Miru, prepare the ship for travel. We'll approach cautiously, observe from a distance, and assess the situation before revealing ourselves. The Taeguk moved through space like a ghost. Its advanced sensors, far superior to anything the Galactic Council possessed, allowed it to observe without being detected. They watched alien ships travel between worlds. They intercepted and translated communications. They learned. The civilization called itself the Galactic Council. 47 species working together in peace. It sounded like paradise after the chaos of Earth's final years. But Kang Min noticed something troubling. Their technology is stagnant, Minho observed, reviewing the technical data they had gathered. These species have advanced computers and faster-than-light travel, but their weapons and defenses are surprisingly primitive. They're not innovating. Maybe they don't need to, Sora suggested. They've had peace for 3,000 years. When you're not fighting, you don't develop weapons. Or they've forgotten how to fight, Kang Min said quietly. For weeks, they observed. They learned the Council's languages, studied their laws, watched their ships move through space with casual confidence. These were people who felt safe in their galaxy. They had no idea that predators could exist. Then they detected the distress signal from Taylor's 7th. Pirates attacking a colony, June reported. 3 warships against a defenseless settlement. Kang Min watched the sensor display. The colony's defenses were failing. People were dying while Council forces were too far away to help in time. He thought of Earth, of cities burning while humanity fled to the stars. He thought of those other colony ships, possibly dead because no one had helped them. Can we reach them in time? He asked. Yes, Admiral. 12 minutes at maximum speed. Kang Min made his decision. Take us there. Battle stations. Maybe we can save these people. They emerged from faster-than-light travel directly into the battle zone. The Kragath pirates were so focused on the colony they didn't notice the Taeguk at first. Then one of their sensors picked up the massive ship appearing behind them. They're turning toward us, Sora reported. Charging weapons. They're firing on us without even attempting communication, Jiwon observed from her advisory position. Then they've made their choice, Kang Min said. Target their weapons and engines. Minimal force. We're here to stop them, not start a war. But what the Taeguk considered minimal force was devastating by galactic standards. Miru had built the ship's weapons using principles from multiple alien technologies. A single shot, meant as a warning, struck a Kragath destroyer's shield and passed through it like it wasn't even there. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash. Cease fire! Kang Min shouted, but it was too late. The automated systems, following combat protocols, had engaged all 3 targets simultaneously. 2 more pirates died before Bora could shut down the weapons. The battlefield fell silent except for expanding debris clouds where 3 ships used to be. We just killed them, Sora said, her voice shaking. We meant to disable them, and we killed them all. Their shields were too weak, Minho explained. Our weapons are designed to penetrate much stronger defenses. I didn't realize. Kang Min felt sick. They had come to help, to save lives. Instead, their first action had been killing. Even if the pirates had fired first, even if they deserved justice for attacking civilians, this wasn't how first contact should have gone. Sir, I'm detecting multiple ships approaching, June reported. They're broadcasting Council identification codes. It's their defense fleet. Try to communicate with them, Kang Min ordered. Explain what happened. Tell them we were defending the colony. But before June could send the message, Miru interrupted. Admiral, I am detecting focused sensor scans from multiple directions. We are being recorded by at least 30 different vessels and stations. Our image and sensor profile are being broadcast across communication networks." "What does that mean?" Bora asked. "It means the entire galaxy just saw us destroy 3 ships in seconds," Kangmin said grimly. "And we have no way to explain ourselves that they'll understand." The approaching council fleet was led by a ship broadcasting the name and rank of its commander, Hyun. Kangmin watched as the fleet took up defensive positions, not attacking but clearly ready for combat. "They're hailing us on multiple frequencies," June reported. "What are they saying?" "Different languages. I think they're trying to find one we understand. Some of it I can translate now. They're asking us to identify ourselves. They want to know who we are and what we're doing in their space." Kangmin looked at his officers. Young faces, frightened but determined. The last humans in a galaxy that didn't know they existed. He could answer honestly, try to explain about Earth and the Exodus and 150 years of lonely drifting. But would they believe him? Would they even care? "Sir," June asked, "what should I tell them?" Before Kangmin could answer, Sora spoke up. "We can't risk it. We don't know these people. If we tell them everything, we show them we're vulnerable. We show them we're alone. We show them we're desperate. And if we don't communicate, they'll think we're hostile," Jiwon countered. Kangmin made his decision. No response. "Miru, prepare for faster-than-light jump. Random coordinates, maximum range." "Admiral, are you sure?" June asked. "We need time to think, to plan. We just killed 3 ships by accident. If we stay here and try to explain, we might make things worse. We jump now, disappear, and figure out our next move." The Taeguk's engines powered up. Space began to twist around them as faster-than-light drives engaged. The last thing their sensors showed was the Council fleet moving to intercept, too slow to stop them. Then they were gone, jumping into the darkness, leaving behind only questions and fear and the beginning of a misunderstanding that would nearly destroy them all. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was the largest gathering in 300 years. Representatives from all 47 species crowded into the massive chamber on Nexus Prime. The air was thick with tension and fear. Councillor Dabin stood at the central podium, his 4 arms gesturing as he spoke. "We have all seen the footage. An unknown vessel appeared, destroyed 3 Kragath ships with single shots and vanished. Our finest scientists have analyzed the sensor data. Their conclusions are troubling. A holographic display showed the Taeguk. Even in the recording, the ship looked menacing. Dark hull, angular design, weapons that seemed to break the laws of physics. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases," a Etherian scientist explained. "The weapons operate on principles we don't understand. The power generation alone exceeds our theoretical maximums by orders of magnitude." "Perhaps it's a precursor ship," someone suggested. "An ancient vessel awakened from sleep." "Precursor technology doesn't match this design," the scientist replied. "This is something new, something we've never encountered." Commander Hyun stood when recognized. "The ship appeared at Talus 7th in response to the pirate attack. It may have been trying to help, but it destroyed 3 vessels without apparent effort. If it's hostile, our current defenses would be inadequate." "If it's hostile?" War Counselor Taejian slammed his fist on his desk. The Draxian warrior's scales flushed red with anger. "It appeared without warning, killed Council citizens without communication, and fled before answering questions. That's the behavior of a criminal, not an ally." "The Kragath were pirates attacking a civilian colony," Hyun protested. "Hardly innocent citizens." "They deserve trial, not execution," Taejin shot back. Councillor Dabin raised his arms for silence. "We must make a decision. Do we treat this vessel as a potential threat and mobilize military forces? Or do we attempt peaceful contact?" "How do we contact something we can't find?" someone asked. We track it, Tae-jin said. I've already ordered sensor networks throughout Council space to watch for the vessel's energy signature. If it appears again, we'll know. And then what? Dabin asked. Then we surround it with enough firepower that it has no choice but to surrender and explain itself. The vote was called. To Dabin's dismay, the council voted in favor of Tae-jin's plan. Fear had overcome caution. 300 warships were ordered to mobilize, the largest military force assembled in council history. Hyun left the council chamber feeling uneasy. He had voted against the mobilization, but he was now ordered to lead part of it. As he walked through Nexus Prime's corridors, his communications officer caught up to him. Sir, you need to see this. Our intelligence division has been analyzing the mystery ship's movements before it appeared at Talus 7. Hyun reviewed the data. The ship had been moving through council space for weeks, always at the edges of sensor range. It had visited derelict sites, old battlefields, abandoned stations. It was scavenging, Hyun realized. Collecting materials, maybe studying our technology. That's what concerns intelligence, sir. If it was studying us, that suggests reconnaissance. Preparation for invasion. But Hyun saw it differently. An invasion force wouldn't need to scavenge. They would arrive fully supplied. This ship was acting like a survivor, gathering resources wherever it could find them, acting like someone alone and desperate. What if it's not an invasion force? Hyun said quietly. What if it's just one ship? Maybe the last of its kind. Sir? Never mind. Prepare the fleet. We have our orders. Meanwhile, the Teguk drifted in an empty region of space, hiding among asteroid fields and gas clouds. Inside the ship, the crew was divided. We should have explained ourselves, Sora argued in the conference room. Now they think we're enemies. They would have thought that anyway, Kangmin replied. We destroyed 3 ships, Sora. No explanation would have made that acceptable. So we hide forever? Minho challenged. We drift through space until our supplies run out? Until the ship finally breaks down? We need allies. We need resources. We need a place to exist. I know that, Kangmin said, his voice tired. He hadn't slept since the incident at Talus 7th. But rushing into contact got us labeled as killers. We need a better plan. June had been monitoring council communications continuously. Admiral, you should hear this. The council is mobilizing military forces. 300 ships. They're searching for us. 300? Bora repeated, her voice faint. We can't fight 300 ships. We might not have to, Sora said suddenly. She brought up data on the main display. I've been studying council technology, their weapons, their shields, their tactics. They're designed for fighting each other, not for fighting something like us. We have advantages they can't match. You're suggesting we fight them? Ji-won asked from her seat. I'm suggesting we might survive if they find us, Sora corrected. But Admiral, there's another option. Let me broadcast a message. Let me explain who we are, where we came from. Let me tell them about Earth. They won't believe us, Kangmin said. Maybe not, but at least they'll know we tried. Right now they're creating stories about us in their heads. Invasion force, ancient weapon, destroyer species. Let's give them the truth instead. Even if they don't believe it, doubt is better than certainty of our hostility. Kangmin looked at his officers. He saw determination in Sora's eyes, desperation in Minho's expression, fear in Bora's face. They were all scared, they were all exhausted, and they were all depending on him to make the right choice. If we broadcast our identity, he said slowly, we reveal our weakness. They'll know we're alone. One ship, no backup, no fleet waiting in the darkness. We're already weak, Minho pointed out. We're low on supplies, exhausted and outnumbered. Broadcasting our story doesn't change that, but it might change how they see us. It could also make them more aggressive, Kangmin argued. If they know we're alone, they might try to capture us, study our technology. Then we make sure the message shows them why that would be a bad idea, Sora said. She pulled up a file she had been preparing. We show them Earth's history, our wars, our weapons, our refusal to surrender even when our planet was dying. We tell them about the drones that attacked us and how we survived. We make them understand that humanity might be alone, but we're not helpless. Kang Min studied the prepared message. It was honest, but not weak. It explained their situation but didn't beg for mercy. It showed humanity's capacity for both peace and violence. "If I approve this," he said, "there's no taking it back. The entire galaxy will know we exist. We'll know what we are. We'll know what we can do." "They're going to find out eventually," Ji-won said quietly. "The question is whether they learn it on our terms or theirs." Kang Min made his decision. Do it. Broadcast the message on all frequencies. Let the galaxy know that humanity survived. Sora worked quickly, preparing the transmission. It included audio, video, and data files. Images of Earth in its beauty and in its death. Recordings of human music, art, and literature. Technical specifications that showed their capabilities without revealing critical secrets. And at the center of it all, Sora's own face and voice. "My name is Sora. I am human. My species originated on a planet called Earth in a distant part of the galaxy. Our world died, poisoned by our own mistakes. We fled into space, seeking survival. We have drifted for 150 years, alone and lost. We are the last of our kind. We mean no harm to your civilizations. We seek only a place to exist, a chance to rebuild what we lost. We destroyed the pirate ships at Talus 7th in defense of your colony. We did not mean to kill, but our weapons are stronger than we realized. We are not invaders. We are not conquerors. We are survivors. And we are tired of running." The message went out on every frequency, broadcasting in all known languages. Within minutes, it reached every corner of Council space. The response was immediate and chaotic. Some species were moved by humanity's story. Others were skeptical. Many were frightened by the admission that the Taeguk's weapons were even stronger than demonstrated. The council chamber erupted into arguments. But War Counselor Taejin saw an opportunity. "They admit they're alone. One ship, no reinforcements. This is our chance to neutralize the threat before more of them arrive." "The humans said they're the last of their kind," Dabin protested. "And you believe them? This could be a trick. Even if it's true, that one ship is more powerful than our entire fleet. We cannot allow such technology to exist unchallenged." "They asked for peace," Hyun said, standing to address the council. "They explained their actions. They're offering dialogue." "They're offering surrender on their terms," Taejin countered. "I say we accept their implied invitation. They've revealed their location through their broadcast. We move now, with overwhelming force, and we take that ship." The vote was close, but fear won again. The council fleet would move to intercept the Taeguk. Hyun was ordered to lead the assault. As his fleet prepared to jump to the Taeguk's location, Hyun reviewed Sora's message again. He saw something in her eyes that Taejin and the others had missed. Not fear, not weakness, determination, warning. "What have we done?" Hyun whispered to himself. His communications officer looked up. "Sir, nothing. Execute jump on my command." 300 ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, heading toward a confrontation that would change the galaxy forever. The sensors detected them 10 minutes before they arrived. 300 ships moving in perfect formation, weapons powered, shields raised for combat. "They're coming," June reported, his voice steady despite the fear everyone felt. "ETA 9 minutes. Kang Min sat in the command chair, his mind racing through options. They could run. The Taeguk's engines were faster than anything the council possessed, but running meant living as fugitives forever, hiding in the shadows, never finding a home. "Battle stations," he ordered. "Power all weapons systems, maximum shields." "Admiral, We can't fight 300 ships, Bora protested. I know, but if they see us preparing to fight, maybe they'll hesitate. Maybe they'll talk instead. Sora sat at her station, hands shaking. Her message had failed. Instead of opening dialogue, it had brought an army to their doorstep. This is my fault. I thought if they knew the truth... You did the right thing, Jiwan said, her elderly hand on Sora's shoulder. Whatever happens now, at least we tried for peace. The Council fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in a sphere formation completely surrounding the Taeguk. Kang Min had to admit it was impressive, coordinated, professional, overwhelming. These people might not fight often, but they remembered how. Hyun's voice came over the communication channel, translated by Miru. Unknown vessel, you are surrounded by forces of the Galactic Council. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded for inspection. They want to board us, Minho said. Study our technology. Predictable, Kangmin replied. Miru, open a channel. This is Admiral Kangmin of the human vessel Taeguk. We have powered weapons in self-defense only. We do not wish to fight. We request peaceful negotiation. There was a pause. Then Hyun's voice returned. You destroyed 3 council vessels. You have evaded attempts at contact. You possess weapons technology that threatens galactic security. The council demands your surrender. And if we refuse? Kangmin asked, though he already knew the answer. Then we will use force. Kangmin looked at his crew. Young faces, old faces, all human faces, the last of Earth. If they surrendered, they might be imprisoned or executed. If they ran, they would never stop running if they fought. War Counselor Taejin has ordered us to neutralize your threat, Hyun continued. But I have reviewed your message. I believe you're telling the truth about your origins. I believe you mean no harm. Surrender now, and I will personally guarantee your safety before the Council. Can we trust him? Sora asked. Does it matter? Minho replied. We're out of options. But Kangmin saw something in the sensor data. The Council fleet was positioned for combat, but their formation had gaps, weak points. They had surrounded the Taeguk, but not optimally. They were more concerned with looking strong than with actual tactical advantage. They're not expecting us to fight, he realized. They think we'll surrender or run. Shouldn't we? Bora asked. Before Kangmin could answer, new orders came through the Council fleet's internal communications. Miru was monitoring all their frequencies now, translating in real time. Taejin's voice overrode Hyun's authority. All ships, this is War Counselor Taejin. The Council has determined that the human vessel is too dangerous to be allowed to exist. You are ordered to destroy it. Fire on my command. They're going to kill us, Jun said, his voice breaking. After we asked for peace, after we explained everything, they're just going to kill us. Kangmin felt cold fury building inside him. They had run from Earth's death. They had survived the drone attack. They had drifted for 150 years. They had tried diplomacy, tried honesty, tried everything they could to avoid this moment. But the galaxy had decided humans were too dangerous to live. Miru, Kangmin said quietly. Target the uninhabited moon at coordinates 773. Load the kinetic lance. Admiral? Sora looked at him in shock. That weapon has never been tested. We don't know what it will do. Now we find out. If they want to see what humans can do when cornered, we'll show them. The kinetic lance was Miru's most ambitious creation, a magnetic accelerator that could fire projectiles at relativistic speeds. Theoretical calculations suggested it would be devastating, but theory and reality were different things. Target locked, Miru reported. Fire, Kangmin ordered. The Taeguk shuddered as the kinetic lance activated. A tungsten rod, no bigger than a person's arm, was accelerated to nearly the speed of light. It crossed the distance to the moon in seconds. The impact was cataclysmic. The rod struck with the force of a nuclear weapon, punching completely through the moon. The exit created a chain reaction in the moon's core. It began to break apart, massive chunks of rock exploding outward. The shockwave expanded rapidly, disabling dozens of council ships that had been too close. The battlefield went silent. Everyone, council and human alike, stared at the destruction. A moon, rendered lifeless and broken in seconds. The message was clear. This is what we can do. This is what happens if you force our hand. "Broadcast on all channels," Kangmin ordered. June opened the channel with shaking hands. Kangmin's voice was cold and hard. "We did not come to your galaxy to conquer. We came seeking survival. But if you force us to fight, you will learn what 150 years of desperate struggle has taught us. We are not your enemies, but we will not be your victims. We destroyed that moon to show you our capability. We could have targeted your ships instead. We chose mercy. Choose wisely what happens next." In the council flagship, Hyun stood frozen. He had seen weapons before. He had fought in battles. But nothing had prepared him for the casual demonstration of power he had just witnessed. A moon destroyed as a warning. "All ships, fire at will!" Taejin's voice screamed over the command channel. "Destroy them!" But Hyun didn't move. His hands hovered over the firing controls, but he couldn't press them. The human had chosen mercy, had targeted a moon instead of the fleet. That meant something. Around him, other captains hesitated too. Some fired, their weapons flashing toward the Taeguk. The human ship's shields absorbed the attacks effortlessly, but many ships held their fire, their commanders frozen by the same realization as Hyun. "You cowards!" Taejin raged. "You're disobeying direct orders." "No," Hyun said, broadcasting to the entire fleet. "I'm preventing a massacre. Our massacre. This ship has shown restraint. It has asked for peace multiple times. It destroyed a moon instead of our fleet. If we continue this attack, we're not defending the galaxy. We're committing murder." The debate raged across the fleet's communication channels. Some captains argued for following orders. Others agreed with Hyun. The attack faltered, became disorganized, then stopped completely as more and more ships powered down their weapons. On Nexus Prime, Counselor Dabin had been watching the confrontation through live feeds. He saw the moon's destruction, he saw the fleet's hesitation, and he saw an opportunity. "This is Counselor Dabin invoking Emergency Protocol 779. I am overriding War Counselor Taejin's command. All ships are ordered to stand down. Commander Hyun, you are authorized to negotiate with the human vessel." "You have no authority," Taejin shouted. "I have the authority granted by 3,000 years of council law," Dabin replied calmly. "Law that states when a council member orders actions that threaten galactic peace, they can be overridden by majority vote. And right now, 33 councilors are voting against you." The vote counts appeared on screens throughout the fleet. Taejin had lost. Hyun opened a direct channel to the Taeguk. "Admiral Kangmin, this is Commander Hyun. I am requesting a ceasefire. Will you agree to meet face-to-face? No weapons, no tricks, just two people talking." Inside the Taeguk, the crew looked to Kangmin. He had gambled everything on that demonstration, had shown their power, but also their restraint. Now came the moment of truth. "Where?" Kangmin asked. "Neutral space. Coordinates I'm sending now. Just you and me, Admiral. Let's see if we can fix this before more people die." Kangmin reviewed the coordinates. Empty space, away from both fleets. It could be a trap, but his instincts said otherwise. This Hyun had stood up to his own superiors to stop the attack. That took courage. "I'll meet you there," Kangmin agreed. "But Commander Hyun, my ship will be watching. If anything happens to me, they have orders to jump away and never trust the Council again." "Understood, Admiral. I'll see you in 1 hour." The small shuttle carried Kangmin through space to the meeting coordinates. He wore his old uniform, carefully preserved for 150 years. No weapons except a small sidearm that he doubted would help if things went wrong. Hyun's shuttle arrived moments later. The two men met in the space between their vessels, magnetic boots holding them to a small platform designed for emergency ship repairs. For a long moment, they just looked at each other, human and alien, enemies by circumstance, meeting face to face for the first time. "You're not what I expected," Hyun said finally. His translation device made his words understandable but kept the emotion in his voice. "The human in the broadcast, Sora, she looked scared. You look tired." "I am tired," Kangmin admitted. "Tired of running. Tired of fighting. Tired of being alone in the universe. Your demonstration with the moon. That was a warning? That was mercy. I could have fired that weapon into your fleet. Would have destroyed half your ships before you could react. But we're not murderers, Commander. We're survivors." Hyun nodded slowly. "I believe you. But my government is afraid. You have technology we don't understand. Power that could upset the balance the Council has maintained for millennia. They see you as a threat." "And what do you see?" Kangmin asked. "I see refugees. I see a species that lost everything and kept fighting anyway. I see people who just want a place to exist." Hyun paused. "I also see the most dangerous military force this galaxy has ever encountered. Those two facts don't cancel each other out. Admiral." "So what happens now?" Hyun pulled up a holographic display between them. "I've been authorized to offer a proposal. The Council will grant humanity a protected sector of space. Territory where you can settle, build, grow. In exchange, you share your technology slowly, carefully, helping us understand it. And your ship, the Tagak, joins the Council Defense Forces as a rapid response unit." "You want us to be your soldiers," Kangmin said flatly. "I want you to be our shield. Pirates, raiders, threats from outside Council space, you deal with them. You've already shown you're willing to protect innocent people. At Talos VII, you intervened to save colonists. Build on that. Become the force that keeps others safe." Kangmin considered the offer. It wasn't perfect. It put humans in harm's way. But it also gave them a purpose, a place, acceptance. "What about our autonomy, our freedom?" "Complete autonomy within your sector. You govern yourselves, make your own laws, live as you choose. The only requirement is responding to major threats when the Council calls." "And if we refuse?" Hyun met his eyes. "Then you keep running, keep hiding, keep living as fugitives. Eventually someone will find you, someone less reasonable than me. Someone who will shoot first and ask questions never. Is that what you want for your people?" Kangmin thought of the crew sleeping in cryopods, thousands of people who just wanted normal lives, children who had never seen a planet's surface, elders who wanted to die somewhere that felt like home. "I need to discuss this with my people," he said. "Take your time. The ceasefire holds as long as negotiations continue." They returned to their ships. Kangmin called together his senior staff and explained the offer. The debate was intense. Minho argued they should demand more. Sora thought they should accept immediately. Bora worried about hidden clauses. June pointed out they had few alternatives. In the end, it was Jiwon who settled it. "We left Earth because it was dying. We've drifted for 150 years looking for a new home. This isn't perfect, but it's real. It's a chance. We take it, and we make the best of it." The vote was unanimous. 5 years passed. New Terra grew from a single colony to a thriving world. The sky was blue, the oceans clean, the forests green. Children played in parks, elders sat in gardens. Humanity had found its new home. The Taiguk had changed too. No longer alone, it was joined by newly constructed human ships. Together, they formed the core of the Council's rapid response fleet. When pirates raided, humans responded. When unknown threats appeared at the galaxy's edge, humans investigated. They became known as fierce but fair, dangerous but honorable. Kang Min stood on the bridge of the Taeguk, now promoted to Admiral of the Human Defense Force. Beside him, Commander Sora reviewed reports. They had become the galaxy's protectors, the shield that kept others safe. "Do you think they'll ever stop being afraid of us?" Sora asked. "Maybe not," Kang Min replied, "but they respect us now, and that's enough." In the distance, new signals appeared at the galaxy's edge. Unknown ships moving in formation. Another threat approaching, but this time, the galaxy had humanity on its side. And the galaxy knew that while humans could be gentle with those who sought peace, they were absolutely terrifying to those who brought war. The Taeguk's engines powered up. The hunt continued. But now, humanity hunted not for survival, but for purpose. Not as victims, but as guardians. And across the galaxy, when danger appeared, the call went out. Send the humans. They'll handle it. The galaxy had learned to fear the human battleship, but it had also learned to hope for its arrival. Because where the Taeguk went, safety followed. Humanity had survived Earth's death. They had endured 150 years of darkness. They had faced extinction and refused to surrender. And now, finally, they were home.